By the end of today's episode, you'll know a unique trick that you can use to vastly improve your chances of being noticed and remembered by casting directors when you submit yourself to casting calls. Welcome to the Actor's Career Compass, where we help aspiring screen actors find high-quality auditions, sign with great agents, and book major roles in legit productions. I'm your host, Martin Benson, and in today's episode, you'll learn how to get noticed before you even audition. The trick that I'm going to share is a simple way to get almost any casting director to think, oh, that's interesting. This actor actually cares, and maybe I'll pay a bit more attention to them. So I want you to imagine, you walk into the waiting area for an audition. It's a long hallway with rows and rows of benches, and all around you sit other actors reading over their scripts and looking at their phones occasionally to check the time. As you look around, you start to ask yourself, do I really have that many clones? Everywhere you look, everyone looks just like you. You sigh, squeeze in between two of your twins, and pull out the sides to start reviewing your lines. 25 minutes later, you're called in, you perform, the casting director thanks you, and you leave. Never to hear from them again, even after you follow up. Just another Tuesday. Now I want you to think about a second scenario. In this one, you walk into the waiting area for the audition feeling excited. You look around and you notice everyone looks like you, but you don't care. Why? Because you're absolutely positive that the casting director will remember you over the other people. You've done some work ahead of time to make sure of it. After 25 minutes, you're called in. You execute your audition flawlessly because you didn't feel nervous at all. And then you leave. The next day you hear back. They want you for a callback. Which scenario would you rather be in? So today I'm going to share one of my advanced strategies. This is something that you can do to stand out and be a lot more memorable to the next casting director that you audition for, no matter how many twins you're auditioning against. I call it how to be memorable to casting directors. All right, so you ready to dive in? Step one is you need to identify the important casting directors. Okay, start by noticing which casting directors come up frequently on Actors Access or other platforms. These are the people that you should be aiming to build relationships with over time. Next, you're going to do a quick Google search. Okay, so you're going to type that casting director's name in quotes, followed by the words casting director. So example might be John Smith, and you'll put that in quotes, and then next to it, you'll say casting director. You don't need quotes around the words casting director. So you're going to start looking for interviews or articles where they've shared insights about the audition process or what they look for in actors. You're going to skim through these, and you're going to look for any advice that resonates with you. At that point, I want you to craft a personal submissions note. Okay, so when you apply to one of their casting calls, just include a short note referencing their advice. Something like, John, I loved your tip in your interview with Mary Johnson about closing your eyes for a moment before starting an audition. It really helps me feel grounded and centered. Anyway, I'd love to audition for the role of Michael Hamilton. I studied journalism in college and think I can bring some authenticity to that part. Now, of course, you shouldn't overdo it. Okay, this strategy is most effective when you use it selectively. Focus on roles that you really want or casting directors that you see very frequently. This way, you're making a very strong, targeted impression without burning yourself out, since it does take a bit of extra work. Obviously, you're not going to be able to find things for every single casting director out there. So if you can't find anything after some Googling, you can skip them. But for the few that you do, this can be a great way to instantly stand out. The key factor to this is that you're going to be getting noticed and being memorable to casting directors, not for performing in some way that's weird or different or that a casting director might be considered distracting. Instead, it's about doing work before the audition to show them that you actually care about the project and that you know of them, or at least spend some time researching them. And by focusing on casting directors that you see the most frequently, you are increasing your chance of getting on their shortlist so that you can get more opportunities from them down the line. Because some casting directors, many in fact, keep a short list, kind of like a Rolodex of actors that they really like, that audition well, and that they noticed for whatever reason. And they look through that list whenever they're casting for important auditions, just to remember and remind themselves, hey, are there any actors that I already have on my list here that I know do a good job who might be worth bringing in for an audition? And if you get onto that list, they're going to be reaching out to you fairly frequently. And imagine if you got onto the list of 10 or 20 casting directors who are auditioning things frequently and reaching out to you because you look like the kinds of characters that they typically cast for. Now, if you are worried, this does not come off as weird or creepy, sending a note like that, okay? Just test it out a few times if you're not sure with some lower level casting directors or even indie film directors, if you can find some info about them online. You can test it out and see, and you'll quickly realize that generally speaking, most people don't think it's weird. Instead, they just feel like, oh, wow, that was cool. So this personalized note tactic really does make a difference, and it shows people that you care. I recommend trying it out. Work past your fears, and you'll see, okay? At least give it a test. Well, thanks for listening. Now, if you want to learn how to get noticed in auditions because of strong acting technique, which is just as important as getting noticed beforehand, because of course, if you do this tactic and your acting technique is bad, you don't audition well, then that's not going to work and it might come off as weird. But if you're really strong at acting and you also use this other technique first, it can really, really help. So again, if you want to improve your acting and audition technique, I highly recommend checking out my podcast episode called The Secret to Acting in Film at the SAG-AFTRA Level, which is episode number 45. You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to have a much better understanding of how to improve your acting ability by learning to analyze your performances properly. So again, it's episode number 45, The Secret to Acting in Film at the SAG-AFTRA Level on the Actor's Career Compass. Finally, if you'd like to get some personalized advice from me, let's hop on a quick Zoom call. I'd love to take a look at where you are, what you're struggling with, and help you figure out what the best steps are for you to take. So whenever you're ready for that, just visit martinbenson.com. That's MartinBensen. Okay, visit martinbenson.com and you can schedule something. I would really love to meet with you. Thanks so much, and I'll